9:15, so that's usually like 10:30. All right. Look what's happening here, and I see some hardware on the table. Welcome to the show, Jeff DeForest, and we applaud the return of the great Jersey Kyle Martinez, fresh back from the Jersey Shore. And what was that, Long Branch, New Jersey?
I was in Long Beach Island, LBI, to those who are familiar with the area, with a short stop in your favorite city along the Jersey Shore. Atlantic City.
Very good. How'd that go?
That went well. I did pop a little slot machine action that did cover some of the expenses,
Yes.
not all of the expenses.
Could it cover the torture, though? I mean, for some reason, you're driven by your own desire for self-sabotage, and
Yes.
you drove there,
Right.
and then a week later, this is the tough part, you have to drive back.
Yeah.
I don't like that face Jory's making. That doesn't bode well for the show, does it?
Either somebody just punched him in the balls, or the camera broke. I don't know. Can you tell?
I just switched internet. I was on yours.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh.
All right. Are we still going? Or, all right. Beautiful. We don't want to, deviate from the normal
I
protocol.
mean, the guy was in
program.
agony there for a minute.
Yeah, he gave it one of those.
We're off to such a good
What, are we
start.
on the air? Are we off the
I
air?
don't mind when it's one of your guys' speeches.
Yeah.
It's mine that bothers
That's
me.
bad. Yeah. All right. So what happens there? You're gonna have to do. You got a lot of explaining to do. But coming back was what? How torturous was it?
Yeah,
Kids were asleep in the
coming
car, right?
back
These
from-
are not kids, though.
coming back from anywhere always is horrible, right? Because on the way up there, there's the joy
excited,
and the.
yeah.
I mean, you remember from our trips to the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
The car is full of festivities,
Optimism.
There's optimism of great scores and big wins.
You
at the
think you're
race.
going to win.
I mean,
You think you're going to win.
You think you're going to win. You've got a pocket, with a decent amount of cash in it. You know.
Soon to be evaporated very quickly.
In our case, that's usually what happens. But but then the return home, the vacation's over, or the whatever it is you went to is over, and of course it's a little downtrodden as you're heading back, to the home location.
You realize reality bites, and you're about to go right back into it head first.
But let me tell anyone who happens to be driving between Richmond, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., I don't know what time of the day is good time to go through there, because
Certainly not rush hour.
I sat in traffic on a Saturday from 1 in the afternoon until 4
Yeah.
o'clock at a dead standstill.
They call it the Beltway there, and it's all in circles, and they call it the Beltway.
I wanted to take
you want
my
to take a
belt.
belt and put it around your neck, and just say, "Hey, kids, step on it."
It was literally the worst afternoon
Bad, yeah.
I have ever spent. Horse racing going around the country, great. I mean, if I could have got out of the car and walked to Laurel, I would have.
Yes.
I mean, it was just horrible. But a great time. Let's forget about.
You were riding waves and doing all kinds of stuff. Now, what brought about the trophy here?
Well, this is a little known sport.
You won that.
I did win this.
Yes.
There was
You didn't buy it on the boardwalk.
there
in
was
Atlantic City?
16 competitors in
Some
this.
drunk laying out
No,
there
this is
playing
real.
the drums on a bunch of
When we get our better
trash
high
cans.
tech equipment,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to zoom in on this. But this is the Long Beach Island 2015 Washer Toss Champion
Washer
Trophy.
toss.
Washer
Don't just
We're actually
slough
doing
over
it
that.
now.
Well, it's a little known game.
Yes, I would imagine. Since I've never heard of it.
Don't let that interfere with the Saratoga entries for today.
From
'cause-
yesterday, right?
no, these are the new ones.
you got today's. Okay,
These are the
good.
new ones. But I didn't know about this sport, but kind of on the horseshoe thing.
I thought you said it was a Jersey tradition.
Well, it's a Jersey thing, I guess, because me living here, I don't keep up on everything that's going on. But
Yeah.
they said, well, we're having the washer toss, and I said, oh, great, and they had
Washer toss.
they had a bracket.
Was there money involved?
There was no cash, but there was this trophy, which
Yeah.
I got to bring back here and display. It's the first trophy I've ever won. My buddy there who ran the
First
tournament
trophy you've ever won.
ever in my
Ever.
life. Yeah.
You weren't born in the day of the participation trophy where little Johnny got one, even though
No.
he got a bloody nose and ran home crying after the first
I
game.
mean, I've had a lot of seconds,
Yeah.
but I've
Well,
never.
we know that.
Yeah.
It describes your love life. We didn't want to talk about any of that. Did you have any action there on the shore?
There was a little bit of action
Yeah.
on the Jersey Shore, but not as much as
Did you
back.
have any number of women that remember you as you were, back in the day when you were like, with the hair down to your ass?
The Bobby Sherman
The
look,
Bobby
as
Sherman
we
look,
refer
and
to it.
You were
Yeah.
hoisting 30-footers as if if you were the second coming of Bob Cousy.
Yeah, those were the
That was
days. Why
great.
do you have to remind me of this? I mean,
Well, because I was reminded of it. There's a picture on a desk of a young Deef, and the guy asked me, "Who's that?"
Right. No, it's scary when you walk through you walk by a mirror in your house and,
Yes.
and you say, "Who's that old guy that just broke into my mind?" You think
You're
there's
horrified. Yeah, just absolutely horrified.
oh, that's me, son of a gun.
So what was the protocol there? Now you went back to a lot of different stuff. You're touring the bars. What's going on there on the Jersey Shore this time of
Well,
year?
basically, it's a little thing where we just get together with a bunch of old guys from high school and their wives, and or their new girlfriends, or from their that they just picked up after their divorce that just went down a couple of weeks ago. But it's always fun, big group of people, and a lot of beer drinking, and a lot of fun, just beach and.
Now, did you stay on your naturalist path that you've been on lately?
I have not been drinking, and
You didn't drink anything while you were there.
I did not.
Not one beer.
I did. I had one beer.
All right.
As a celebratory.
Because it would be a disgrace.
As
to
a
the state of New Jersey.
celebratory beer.
What do? You toss
It's
washers into a
It's
cup?
a horseshoe type pitch.
Yeah.
And it's a washer. It's about the size of a silver dollar.
Right.
And it's a typical washer that you would use to build, a dock or put a bolt through.
Something a Jewish guy like me probably has not
Never
familiar
seen,
with.
but it's a washer. And there's a chock full of nuts coffee can
Yeah.
that's set about 20,
I've seen this game. Yeah.
and you throw the washer and you got to get it into the
I can't
can.
believe you're not putting cash on this. What would be the point of playing if there was no money riding on it?
It was just for fun.
For pride?
There was this trophy that was sitting there,
Oh, okay.
and so
and
it was.
you grabbed it. Is it actually?
I did win it. I didn't steal the trophy, as
How
you're
come
going
it
to.
says Maroki Lanes on there, and it looks like the guy's bowling? I mean, what is that?
That is a washer, but it's actually a horseshoe that's there.
Yeah, okay.
All right, but it's
So you were at Monticello or something? No, you were at the Meadowlands.
the
No?
guy at the trophy shop was nice enough to print that on there. So
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I thought you got that at a garage sale.
no. This is actually something that I did win, and my buddy who
I'm proud of you of that. You schlepped it all the way home too.
I did, and my friend who ran the tournament.
Where will it sit in your humble abode?
He made mention that, I don't know where I'm going to put it. I was thinking about gluing it to the front of the car,
good, yeah.
Or maybe put this guy on there, like you used to get on the old
Maybe you can
Cadillacs.
melt it down. A leaper can get $20 for
I
it.
can guarantee there's no
Is it
gold.
actual
No,
gold?
there's nothing in this.
No.
It's just
pretty
plastic.
hollow, yeah.
It's garbage, but
It's a shallow victory, but it
It's
meant
nice
a lot, yeah.
to win the thing.
That's good. That's good.
But where was I now? I lost it.
You were all over the place.
No, but I had
it's okay.
something good that was coming with it, and now you.
It's okay. I threw you off. I apologize for that. Well, a lot of stuff's been
Well, it's
happening.
good to be back. How
Yeah,
you
no,
been? You've been,
I've been good. You know what? I actually was honored today. I've been doing a lot of interesting but oddball things in the sporting world. Saturday night, I was calling some fights. I couldn't believe what a major production this was for the Spanish people. They were doing some live fights in an area I never even heard of here in South Florida. You ever find that in whatever city you're watching in? That they've redeveloped an area that you otherwise would never go into unless you were armed with an AK-47 and had an army of your friends that were equally as well armed going in there with you.
When a friend of yours says, "Where are you going?" and you go, "Oh, I'm going down there."
Yeah.
Oh, bring a gun. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. It's funny how some of the neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was, not the greatest. I mean, if you go back to the days of the riots in Miami many years ago when they were writing things like rivers of blood, years of uncertainty, or whatever, that was like how they depicted the area, like rivers of blood. Because I remember when I was moving here, people said you were crazy.
When the cocaine cowboys of the late 70s.
They just had that, what was the guy's name? Nevin something, not Nevin Shapiro. But anyway, the guy, they beat the crap out of the cops, and it was really bad. And then they started rioting, and they were looting and burning. This was the area this thing was in.
Hey, listen, Miami's got a long history of being, back in the day, Frank Sinatra.
Neville Johnson was the guy's name. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
So two cops killed this guy. He was doing nothing. He had no
Right,
weapons.
right,
He
I
was
remember.
Innocent guy. And it sparked, an ugly Ferguson, Missouri type of reaction here.
Riots, yeah.
And I still lived in California then, and everybody's saying you're crazy. And then on top of that, the next day, like Castro sent all the Marielitos over here.
Yeah, no, there's some
thinking,
rough sections down there.
Yeah, these guys were literally insane. I remember going to make like a $5 pot deal, and I was living in this crummy, dingy hotel down there on South Beach for a week, not knowing that they had just let all these Cuban insane people come to this country, and then they're setting up shop in there.
Right.
So I meet a guy, and he was one of these guys. Oh, yeah, I just got here. I'm thinking, oh, great, me too. Not realizing this guy escaped from an asylum somewhere,
right.
after shooting like 500 people in Havana. So he's, we're going to go get some weed to smoke. And he says, I know a guy, man. So... So I say, okay, good. He goes, well, I got to stop in my room, man. I got to pick something up. I'm thinking he's going to go get, the $5 we needed for this weed. And he says, hey, come on in, man. I'll show you what I got. He pulls out of a paper bag like a pistol. I'm thinking, do we really need a gun to go buy $5 worth of weed? You have to be flat out of your mind.
Wow.
But, this was one of those areas down there where you never would have gone into.
It sounds like you're, a scene out of Scarface.
It was pretty much that. But now it's like an artsy-fartsy...
Hey, Manolo, grab the yayo.
People were in there. Yeah. Take the gun, leave the cannoli, right? Or whatever. It's the other way around. But anyway, so I go down there to call some fights, and I was amazed. It was like a major production, and it was kind of an interesting thing that you see in sport, actually, for a while, because you never know when to hang it up, right?
Yeah.
You knew when you were finished, ultimately. I mean, in all regards and different, things that you go through in life. I mean, you knew when you're finished
well,
sexually.
now that my new sport is washer
yeah,
toss.
I mean, it's not saying a lot, right? You used to think about shooting hoops with Dr. J. Now,
right.
Now it's, throwing dishwashing liquid or whatever that was.
Yeah, washers, yeah.
But hey, they had one of these things that they, would call in the game a crossroads fight.
Yes.
The old Larry Merchant thing. Where
who was this that was fighting? Was like some...
Well, I got the call like on a Wednesday. A friend of mine calls me, says, hey, we might need what's called an English guide track, which they do, and they're broadcasting a fight in another language, in this case Spanish. They're doing a live production on that, and there's the possibility that somebody may want to put like like they would put the SAP,
right,
Spanish available, whatever, by punching this button.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in this case they're put English is available.
Right.
So you could get Mike calling a fight there, or you might see it resold in some other countries or whatever, and they might want English on it.
Yeah.
So they do what's called an English guide track. So guy sends me the itinerary for the fight card, a friend of mine named Rick Sierra, and he says, well, here's the guys who are fighting. And I'm looking over and I go, Glenn Johnson? Guy's 46 years old. I mean, I used to do fights with Glenn. Actually, we did a couple of shows in Atlantic City, and he was a very good color commentator, and of course, he was the fighter of the year in 2004.
And he always had the reputation for being like a tough guy, and always would go to distance. He would never quit. I mean,
never. And besides that, he didn't take that many beatings. He also was known for getting screwed by the pencil more than just about anybody.
Right. Yeah, I remember Glenn Johnson.
A series of atrocious decisions that went against him early in his career.
Right.
And he was known as the Road Warrior because he would go anywhere. He'd fight some guy in France, lose a split decision, even though the guy left the ring on a stretcher and he was fine. I mean, got a lot of screw jobs in the game. I mean, the blind judges, we always talk about them.
Right.
You got what? Scoring the fight, Stevie Wonder, Ray Feliciano, Jose Feliciano, and Ray Charles. Yeah.
If if you run the proper management.
Yeah. Well, and you usually know, like, especially in these local shows, like, who's going to win. Because in this case, all the house fighters were coming out of the
when
blue
you see
corner.
the entire Gambino family sitting in the one side.
And a bunch of guys from Turkey fighting on these cards. And so I'm assuming the promoter, who, by the way, yet to get paid, but always...
That was always a tough check for you, wasn't it?
Boxing checks, yeah, it could be. Sometimes it varied. I mean, certain outfits were great, and others, they would say, hey, you better get down there because so-and-so's going to slip out the back door. That happened to me at the Diplomat Hotel. I was calling a fight with Larry Holmes and Tim Doc Anderson. And Tim Doc Anderson achieved a level of, what would it be, ignominious distinction. In other words, he turned into a bum.
Right.
He ended up shooting his manager because the guy suggested to him that he take a dive in a fight against, oddly, one of your favorite heroes, Mark Gastineau.
There you go.
And that was at the War Memorial. So the guy suggests he take a dive. He ends up losing anyway because he didn't have a whole lot of ability. But he wasn't, certainly should have beaten Gastineau, let's face it. That was far from on the level. And then he fought Larry Holmes at the Diplomat Hotel. And that was the night. It was a great night. You only see this in boxing where Holmes was in a bout with Trevor Berbick, the guy who also became a heavyweight champion. And Berbick is like saying, hey, I did this to your wife, man, and at the press conference after the fight.
Nice.
So I'm waiting for my car in the driveway, leaving the Diplomat Hotel. They were just like kind of revising this thing. And here comes Larry Holmes jumping off the roof of a limousine, and he tackles Burbick, and they get into a fight right there in the street.
Great.
Which was great. But,
Yeah.
this whole thing with Glenn, he had no, you're thinking, geez, didn't he retire like 5 years ago? And he's fighting some guy with 5 fights.
Right.
Some guy from Turkey. Before that, 2 of the other guys over the setup fights for the promoter, they went down in flames, got knocked out, these 2 Turkish guys. So I'm saying it's a Turkish bloodbath
Right.
that's taking place down there. But this was the weirdest disparity of like an old veteran against a young guy that they're trying to build up.
Yeah.
And I thought, Glenn gave it what he had. But you know what, the first thing to go, it's true what Mick said in Rocky. I don't know if it's women, but Father Time certainly weakens legs. You just don't have the legs anymore to do the things that you used to be able to do. And so he spent the whole time leaning on the ropes, ended up losing, and you would have to hope he never fought again. But it's one of those weird things you see in sports sometimes where a guy's still good enough to be okay.
Yeah.
But it would probably be wise if he got out of the game.
Yeah, 46. I mean, that's tough. That's
Still in shape, though. He's like you. He took a vow of celibacy. He never took a drink in his life, never did a drug. Just a clean living, and he seems to be okay as a result of it.
Yeah. When did I take this vow?
Of celibacy?
Of whatever.
I'm talking about, what would it be? Not degenerate celibacy, because you're still gambling like a maniac.
Yeah, and just the only thing I have, cut off is the booze right now. But I'll be back. Believe me, don't get nervous.
I think it's hurting your performance on the show.
I don't think it is. No, I think it's fine. But whatever it is.
What are you going to say about your Jets, though, Jersey Kyle?
What
are they saying there? I saw some real good letters to the editor in the Post.
They're going to be bad this year, but we already went through that earlier on one of our earlier shows. I'm picking 3 to 4 wins this year.
That's it.
Because
other people were optimistic, but could you be
over what? I mean, what is there to be optimistic about?
They were optimistic. They think they have a pretty good defense.
They have the
They lucked out, and they got that kid from USC.
Yeah,
the defensive lineman. He's supposed to be a monster.
They got the guy that
They got back Revis. They got Cromartie, your man, with the, as we say, he's got more good 3-year-olds in the barn than Bob Baffert.
Didn't they get?
That was a great scene in HBO Real Sports. He goes, I got Evan, he's 3. I got Joe, he's 3. I got Alicia, she's 3. It was unreal, man. It looked like Todd Pletcher was up there naming up his stable.
It was great, but the Jets are in big trouble, and I think. But
what about the Geno thing? I mean,
that was nice. I like that.
You did?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. As a matter of fact,
over $600. You know what the move was,
your
right?
Your favorite magazine, the. Don't try walking off with that trophy, all right?
Don't worry.
Yeah,
you see?
I mean, you gave him a look like.
Recognize you as the washer champion.
Never mind your free
Sun.
shares.
Listen, and I'm ready to travel too. If there's any other tournaments around, the country.
What skill? I mean, that would come under the heading of one of those great but wasted skills, right? Because there's really no way to monetize what you're doing with this.
Well,
thing.
you never know. I mean, I don't know how big this thing is. I mean,
or to even perpetuate it. I mean, where else are you going to find another game?
I don't know.
It's actually going to be in the Olympics. It's right after curling.
It could be, yeah. Rhythmic gymnastics.
I think there's more to this.
Jersey Kyle, they wheel him out with the American contingent. He's right behind Phelps.
In Washington toss.
There's another guy could win a gold here. Jersey Kyle Martinez. What's he doing? He's throwing ring washers.
Yeah,
great. Maybe he should swallow some. No, I mean, that could be, Joey's right, that could easily be an Olympic sport. If we asked that question for a big prize
the thing could catch on, you never know, but...
Unbelievable. But, no, I mean, you thought it was okay, getting whacked in the face there, but... Now, your move would have been what? You give the guy back his $600, here's another $400 for your charity?
Yeah, I would have given him his $600. I wouldn't even have wasted any time, But,
peel off a dime and say, go take your wife out to dinner.
I like the fact that the guy cracked him, though, I mean...
Sucker punched him.
Yeah, and just knocked him out,
That was great. But, I mean, hockey players, this is a disgrace, isn't it? I mean, a hockey player is right back there on the ice. Period.
You would have thought, Gino, there's no...
6 to 10 weeks?
There's no retaliation in the thing, which really bothered me. If you get whacked in the jaw, no matter how bad you get hit...
Yeah.
A broken jaw is a broken jaw. You got to get back up and go after the guy and
something. Yeah.
You got to retaliate. Hit him over the head.
What did he do?
Hit him with a chair.
Away.
Hold on, a WWE. Just anything. You can't let But he just like laid there and cried, and they taped him up and took him out. Come on, Gino.
They're a mess, man.
Who wants a guy like that as your quarterback? The guy who's going to run your team. He's just a little wimp. Get him out. I hope we never see him again. Ship him off.
And that's what the Jet fans are saying.
It said in the Post the next day, Jet fans rejoice as Gino goes down.
The letters to the editor yesterday in the Post, there was one really clever one. I thought. Obviously everybody's making fun of this thing. It doesn't take a comic genius. You don't have to be Robin Williams to be able to pick on it. But the letter to the editor in the Post said, now the Jets have their own version of Deflategate, because Gino's going to be 20 pounds lighter after he starts sucking Jell-O through a straw for the next 10 weeks. It's hospital food only. And they looked horrible in that first game, and now they got all kinds of other problems too, right?
The defense looked really, really bad in the preseason game that I saw, even though, what can you get out of it?
You can't really make much of that.
They say the first, few minutes is good. Well, within 3 minutes, somebody ran one all the way down the field for a touchdown against the Jets, so you could see.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, D didn't look good.
But they should be okay. I mean, they do generate a pretty good pass rush, and
I think the big news
they
is
might not score. And this Fitzpatrick guy is not a total.
He's got a nice beard, the guy, and everything.
So, Harvard grad, he should be able to at least understand the plays when they come in.
They're going to stink. Look, don't get excited. All right?
You don't like when your quarterback's reading a comic book on the sideline.
I'd rather.
Right?
Well, this guy's
Gino is out there. I mean, just totally out of it.
This guy's from Harvard. I mean, he's smart. He's coming up with these plays, but the rest of the team looks at the thing and goes, huh?
Yeah, I don't know that you want to speak in logarithms, if you're up there at the line of scrimmage.
When the guy's smarter than the head coach,
Yeah. A big contrast from like Nick Mangold.
Yeah, right.
Who looked like he just walked in from an all-night drunk.
Yeah, he looks like a caveman, I mean, you see Mangold
walking. You're thinking, hey, Grizzly Adams.
Me snap ball, I mean, what is it?
Where's the concessions?
No,
do they have bear meat there? Yeah.
This is not a Mensa club over there.
No. Yeah, we'll take a couple of questions, and then we'll take a quick break here on the show. It's good having Jersey Combine.
Jason Day.
Yes. I love that. I really did. I heard something. Do you ever listen to that guy when you're on your way to the trivia challenge? Times you fill in. There's a guy on the station. We're on 940.
I like that kid in the morning.
Miami.
Yeah.
He's on Saturday. I heard this guy say the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard.
I think that's why I like him, because he says really dumb things.
Well, he's trying to make this case that there was a guy named Kyrgios. He's a young, I think, Australian tennis player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing this guy, Stan Wawrinka, who's like Federer's buddy from Sweden there or whatever, Switzerland, and Switzerland it would be. So they're on the same team. They've been pals forever. And Kyrgios loses the first set at like Wimbledon to Wawrinka, and he turns during the change-up, he goes, hey, my buddy, did it with your girlfriend, Stanley. Right? Just to throw him off his game, right?
Yeah.
So, you're thinking if Wawrinka's going to hit him in the face with a racket, but he went on to just beat him in straight sets, and that was it. The guy's got some class. So the sports guy thinks, oh, well, that was great for the game of tennis to have a complete asshole like this playing who hasn't won squat yet. I mean, Wawrinka's up there. He's second tier, just under the top 4 or 5 guys in the world. He comes up with the occasional Grand Slam win. So, and this guy's done nothing. I mean, he's still popping zits.
Yeah.
And he's telling him, that somebody that he knows is sleeping with his girlfriend.
Yeah, sending it in. I mean,
and the announcer is like, that's what we need in the game.
Yeah. I like that guy. That is what we need.
No, get out of here.
No, we need
caller's question. How about a little dignity? How about a little class? That's what I like about these new
But you like
golfers.
that. I mean, you're a purist. You like to see the game stay the way it is.
I just like these kids. I mean, this Spieth is like Mark the Bird Fidrich. He's talking to the golf ball the whole time. Jordan Spieth. Think about this. He wins 2 Grand Slam events or majors. He wins the Masters, and he goes and then goes out and wins the U.S. Open. In a tough battle, right? Almost wins the British Open. He's 1 inch, a fraction off being in the playoff on the final hole. And then he runs second to a guy who was smoking hot in the PGA.
I think in all sports, though, there should be some penalty for, like, somebody who's playing really, really good and just wiping everybody out.
Yeah.
Like, after the first 9 holes or whatever, Spieth's doing really good, you get to stab him in the leg, like, with something. Or like in tennis, if you're down 2 sets to
you should
none,
be able to heckle the guy.
Yeah, or
a
punch,
little bit.
punch him in the nose.
Where you have to be dead quiet, right? Like they should have a guy. You're on the sidelines. They just go, miss it, fatso! Right in the middle of the guy's swing. They used to do that to Curtis Strange. Monty used to get that also.
I mean, at highlight you can do it. At highlight, some of the greatest things are at some of the highlights.
Remember when Aziz was a little portly out there? Just
and
drop it, you fat slum!
Yeah, have a salad, Rozzy.
I remember a friend of mine threw a drink through the screen at Danielle.
I like that.
When he was playing at Tampa Highlight, and that was a little bit of a
I
distraction.
guess I'm just too New Jersey, because I love this stuff. I like to see the wacky stuff. Like, I mean,
The Happy Gilmore in every sport.
I like to see somebody like,
This was great what this kid did, man. He was sobbing and meant a lot to him. He was like his father walked down on him.
Oh
when
no,
he was
nothing
12.
about taking anything away from Day. I'm talking
He
about
found his first golf club in a garbage can.
and his mom sacrificed a lot. The father died. No, the story.
She sold her house. I think was
Great
selling
story.
her body. I don't even know.
I didn't hear that part. Was that on the live network feed? Or
No,
was
but
that
I
on
mean,
the-
they're so desperate. This
A
is my
woman
favorite thing, and I'm
sold her
watching this. And
body.
Mustang hates it.
How'd she look?
Look good, man.
She must have looked good because he wouldn't have said that. The mother.
No, I didn't see the mother.
No, the mother's hot.
I made
Come
that
on.
up. No, she probably is. The guy's a good-looking kid.
You are sick, man.
I don't know that she sold her body. I mean,
The mother
that was
sold her
LeBron
body
James' mother,
for
wasn't
a
it?
set of pings.
Was that? Look what it got him. I mean, no wonder he was.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he got a set of golf clubs. He's on Australian. There's a few legends there. They're all excited about it. He was banging on the door though for a while.
They were banging on the mother's door. What?
He was banging on.
No!
You're turning this into an episode of Ray Donovan, man. Unreal. Was that the only question on there? I don't know if we answered it to anybody's satisfaction, but
Mother
I
ran
thought that was good stuff.
Jason Day wins the thing, and he says his mother's running a whorehouse.
The next question was, are they ever going to answer the first question?
Of course not.
What was the first question
What
anyway?
question?
What
Yeah.
does he think about the
Did the
whole
I
kid-
thought it was
with
great.
golf
I'm a
as
big
opposed-
golf fan. I'm
No,
glad
he's
there's
happy about
some
it.
class, dignified guys.
He just
But here's the
likes
thing
his
that
mother.
bothered me. The thing that bothered me was the Golf Channel. They're still trying to draw Tiger Woods back into it. Now, he's missed the cut, I think, in 3 of the 4 majors this year. Clearly doesn't have it anymore. He's, it would have been 50 shots behind if he stayed in the tournament.
Yeah, he was horrible.
But there's an
Somebody
announcer on the
there.
Golf Channel, a woman named Kelly Tillman. She's become like their lead anchor, right?
She got a
And
crush
she
on
can't,
Tiger?
No, she can't get him out of there. I mean, she actually had a blow-up doll of Tiger Woods. And she was hugging it on the set,
No.
going, "Oh, Tiger, oh, Tiger." And I'm thinking, this is really taking this Tiger obsession to an extreme, is it not?
Oh my God.
I mean, in golf, it's a disgrace. This is a sanctimonious game where people are supposed to be courteous and have, like, manners and everything like that.
Yeah, no.
Just couldn't get enough of it, You're thinking, hey, why doesn't somebody jab that thing with a knife?
No, I mean, I'm not a big golf guy. You know that. I really, could care less. I'd rather be at the track on a Sunday
But betting golf,
afternoon.
if you ever bet golf, honestly, you would change your mind completely.
What could we have gotten
But we
on
could
the
have gotten
day,
12
kid?
to 1 on Jason Day, and he was primed and ready. I mean, you're looking, if you see a horse, I don't know, you should do your buyer, but and this guy was just primed and ready to win one, as were a couple of other people. If you could have bet them, and whatever denominations, maybe.
Well, that's the nice
You
thing.
put your big money on Day, and then you can hedge if you want to, if you're inclined the entire time. You can go ahead and press your bet on Day, or just bet some of the other guys, and you're in good shape.
And as he's doing better, I'm sure the odds are dropping, but you can add more to the pot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, when we made that score on Martin Keimer,
That was
up
a great score.
$20 bet got us $900 just because we had a feeling that it was going to be some nondescript European schmenk. who was
Hey,
gonna
listen,
win the
there's
tournament.
there's guys that are probably golf handicappers. They could tell you this guy's due for a big game. He's
You got to get the breaks. I mean, they're all so close. That's the thing. But you're getting big odds on a guy that. I mean, 12 to 1's a nice price on a guy that probably was one of 4 or 5 guys that you could have named in the field, and there was no. Even if you're betting the chalk, which was Spieth and Rory McIlroy was getting a lot of money,
Right.
Because he's number 1 in the world. He was making a comeback. The likelihood he needed a race, you would have to think.
Right, and
he
Spieth
did well,
there's
but
been
needed
nobody
one.
hotter than him lately,
Spieth
right?
is amazing. Yeah, he really is. He's like Mark the Bird Fidrich. He's talking to the ball. Okay, come on, ball. I want you to go out there to the right and then cut back a little bit to the left.
He
And
must
then the
have-
whole time he's talking to him while it's in the air. Go, go, go.
He must have got some of those chocolates,
That he could have been. Yeah, I mean, but you like it. You like the fact he's into it. It's kind of refreshing to see somebody that has a little, respect for the game, understands the history of it. Realizes that whatever these foundational people like. And I guess for his era, it would be like Trevino and Big Jack and Arnie
Well,
Palmer.
it's nice to see these young guys. They're like a bunch of 20-year-olds now.
Yeah.
So it's good. Instead of seeing, these old guys kind of duffing around, you got these young kids They're all hitting it a ton. I mean, they're going to
My
break
God, how
breaking
do they
records.
drive these golf balls 400 yards?
Yeah, no, it's
Remember
good.
you were thinking if you hit 250 on the range, you would just go there and flex for a while after.
I mean, but
like
some
your
of,
son, you know.
Well, look
just,
at some of the way these golfers are built. I mean, these guys can play around the golf in the afternoon and then go pose in one of these bodybuilding.
20 soaking wet though. I mean that's.
But some of them are pumped up.
No,
I mean,
they've been doing. Well, there's always the theory that Tiger was on the juice.
right. I mean,
And there would be evidence to believe that to be true, would there not? Why is he the guy that's always injured? You don't see any of these other guys doing it.
Yeah,
20
but
years in a game.
he could get back on the juice. I mean, look at your boy A-Rod. He's got some.
What happened to him?
Maybe Tiger should find some of that magical potion.
Is he still like 0 for 50 now, A-Rod? I mean, he went into the tank.
Well, I mean, you had him as Dr. Kevorkian or somebody was.
Dr. Galea, yeah. I mean,
now he's going to Kevorkian. I mean,
something must have happened. I mean, what they had inadvertent arbitrary testing where
I think
you
it was
shut
you.
it down.
I think it had something to do with you calling all the attention to the boy that they probably started searching a little bit. Maybe they found the fountain of youth.
Yeah, you would think that this guy was training with Ponce de Leon. All right, we're going to come back with more. Good to have you back, Jersey Conway. We have a lot more to discuss. We got the football season on the horizon, and many things happening there. I guess eventually they'll decide what they're going to do with Tom Brady. But I'm sure you had some thoughts on that Brady sketch.
They didn't figure that whole deal out yet?
Nothing yet. I think Wednesday they're going back. The lawyers are going to try to.
And this will
hash
be
out.
it. They'll finally make a decision one way or the other. I mean, this is stupid. This is the dumbest thing.
Beyond stupid, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. This is almost, I know you can't say
Well,
it.
what's weird is, I mean, the guy in Impali who punches Gino, there's no retribution to be paid.
No, the guy got picked up right away, and he's
Next
starting
day,
for the
Ryan
Buffalo
says,
Bills.
Yeah, we like this kid. I think Ryan, though, had a secret agenda, and that was he wanted him to knock out E.J. Manuel now.
See, what I'm
with the Bills.
thinking that, I think maybe, because you always think about Ryan as being a smart guy.
Yeah.
He might have had this guy on the phone prior to this event.
Told him to do it?
Told him, look, you break Gino's jaw and you got a job here for life. Life, kid. He drafted the kid. That's one of his guys.
Yes. And
That's
you know
a
what?
Rex Ryan draft.
I was watching some clips of him in the first preseason game, and this guy slips through to the quarterback like he had, a secret pass into the backfield. He's a pretty good penetrator in terms of pass rush.
And
so.
fought under the name of Santiago Berria in. I mean, that guy, bing!
That's a pretty good shot. I mean, even
one shot broke his jaw. You
this
got
boxing I was calling, we didn't see anybody get their jaw broken.
I mean, it took Ken Norton a long time to break
Imagine
Ali's
this,
jaw.
Ali, but
50.
Ali still fought. No, he broke his jaw.
That's
like in the
why
first
I was
round.
saying Gino should have got up at least something.
Now
hit
he's
him.
throwing passes in the parking lot of some apartment building he lives in. In what town in New Jersey do the Jets hang out?
I have no idea. I have no
What would
idea.
be safe?
What town in New
He
Jersey?
couldn't
There
find
are
a field
no
somewhere.
safe.
He's just down there in the asphalt parking lot, having a catch. But why would that keep you out? I guess if you get hit there again, it would be tragic or something.
I don't know. No, they just have to reset it again. I don't think there's any reason a broken jaw should keep you out.
But a quarterback would be especially vulnerable to having some guy hit him under the chin with a
I think
helmet.
you got it. I think he's a wuss. The kid he is. He should be get out there, Gino.
You'd rather have Kate Smith out there
Yeah,
than Geno Smith.
he's a bum. Let's get everywhere he went, they eventually caught on to him. He's not a nice guy. I hear he's just a big crybaby.
What a goofball, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, forget about it. Let's take a break.
All right, we'll take a time out. You do some handicapping.
We got about 45
Come back in a
minutes
few minutes. So we're going to have all
post
kinds
time.
of new innovations here. Guys are lurking, ready to make technical improvements.
Here, you
to the
can
show.
look at the trophy while we're gone.
You're
Just-
into ring tossing, washer toss. That is weak. Stick around. We'll have more to come here on SportsStreamNetwork.com. Well done, my man. Washer toss. that was funny, man. A bucket of fried rice.
I love that. We may have to venture out for a little Saratoga afternoon
Yeah, I think so.
extravaganza.
Yeah.
Here, let me get this trophy.
Hey,
Jory's had
like
his eye on
another,
it.
15 or so will be good.
Okay.
I'll go back here. All right, whenever you're ready, Jory, man.
Oh, you're live.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, I love that about
I love
the show.
that, right? That we're always,
Yeah,
we're
you have to
always
get that.
on. No, I don't think
All right,
so.
welcome back to the show. Here we are on SportsStreamNetwork.com. We do this every day, usually at 11 o'clock. We're on overtime today because of an oddball incident that I had, and this was kind of fun. I considered it almost worthy of Hall of Fame stature.
What happened?
Doing my radio show out at the Dolphins training camp. I think I've told you this story before. And this goes back a year ago.
Right.
And Kevin Coyle is the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. So the relations between Finns and the station weren't necessarily anything. You just never know which way. You might have said something they're sensitive about,
Right.
like the team sucks or whatever. And so anyway, the PR guy is a guy named Jason Jenkins. He says to me, hey, DeForest, our defensive coordinator wants to meet you. And it's like one of those things with like a veto slant to it. Like,
Right.
hey, yeah, my buddy wants to see you.
Yeah.
Like, or Eddie wants you to call him. You're like, well, really, what's on his mind today? Is he concerned about the weather down here? I would hardly think so. But so anyway, I'm thinking this has got to be negative. It's got to be some baloney that I said.
Well, some of the stuff you say on the air is a little colorful, I mean,
just have fun. I mean, you know
yeah.
me. I'm not taking. This isn't life or death.
And
We're
we
talking
always
about
say, if
sports.
you can't take it, shut it off, because this is the kind of show that
Right.
it's a little rough around the edges, but every regular guy should be able to handle
People
it.
understand it, right?
Right.
So it turns out the guy comes up, and I'm thinking he's going to chew me out or something. He's hey, what are you talking about? Our defensive line sucks. Which isn't necessarily my opinion. Obviously, it isn't. He says, I got to tell you, that is the greatest show I've ever heard in my life. We spend all of our time listening to it. There's not a day goes by we don't talk about something in the
Right.
coaches' meeting that goes on your show. I'm thinking, that's crazy. I don't even pay that much attention to it.
Yeah.
So sure enough, the relationship evolved, and he told me that they have 2 members of their staff plus a couple of other guys that do dead-on impressions of the guys on the show. Me and, in this case, our friend Mike Lubitz, who you got to know a little bit when we were doing the radio show here.
Right.
And they were going to do it for us on the show, but we couldn't take it on the live show today, so it'll be on tomorrow's radio show on 940 Wins. And that's on
Oh, you guys got a
iHeartRadio.
tape of this then?
We had to tape this,
Oh,
yeah.
excellent. Yeah.
And it was hysterical. I mean, it had me down to a T, and it had Lubitz down, almost like you do, which, the audience out there might not be familiar with this guy, but he's a fairly easy guy to do an impression of, but let's face it, you don't meet people like this very often either, that are
Right.
this far gone and insane. So I considered it the ultimate honor. I mean, here I am, I'm probably, I would imagine, the only guy that's had an entire professional team's coaching staff, in this case the defensive staff of the Miami Dolphins, that sits around and does impressions of our show all day.
Right.
Instead of calling the program director demanding for our heads.
Yeah.
And they love it. And then there was even a guy comes in at the end and goes, the time, which is my signature thing on the radio for, exiting the segment, Gino
Yeah.
Johnny Addy out of the Sunnyside Garden.
Yeah, well, that's good stuff.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
yeah.
you know what, and we'll have it tomorrow, and, we're going to figure out ways to incorporate some of this stuff into the Sports Stream show that we do here also. But I really was kind of moved by that these guys were, here they are preparing for the season. There's a lot of pressure on this staff because last year the defense, truthfully fell apart at the end of the year. I mean...
and that's like I always told you, like the guy... There's a lot of guys doing jobs out there every day that, regular working people that are doing their thing, whether these coaches are, locked in a room, and they got the radio on listening to you, or the guy who's stuck in the car, whether he be a sales guy like me who's out on the road all day, or the cab driver, or whoever, delivery guy. They got that radio on. They're not going to call you up to let you know, hey, Devon, this is Joe from Miramar.
Manny from Miramar.
LeBron James twisted his ankle. He's going to be out for a week. Who gives a shit? They want to hear you make them laugh, and that's what you do every morning. And that's what's great about that. It's like having a little comedy in your car with you in the morning, and that's what does it. All us guys, sports guys, regular guys, we know the score. We got up in the morning,
you can feel this right
we
here,
we hit the toilet, we watched our ESPN, we know what the scores are. Everybody knows the score. All right, now entertain me a little bit, and you do that. I mean, I'm not trying to stroke you.
No,
but,
this was interesting for me.
But, when I first moved down here 25, 30 years ago when I was getting into radio, you were one of the guys that was on there that used to crack me up. I go, this guy's good. He gets it. And that's really the biggest compliment. Yeah. If a guy gets it, you get what every guy's thinking, and you say it, and that's what's good about it.
It was quite a distinction. Yeah, I felt pretty good about it because these were young guys. Yeah. I was surprised how young the coaching
they look,
staff
right?
was.
They look like they're in high school, some of these
really,
guys.
I mean, I'm used to, some salty old dog looks like Burgess Meredith, is your basketball coach.
Hey, rock.
Now, Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, he does have that, and this is a trait that I think only assistant football coaches are capable of, but they have just a natural 3-day growth. But it always is a 3-day growth. It never gets to 4. It's never back to 2. It's like they always have there was a guy down here for many years. He was known as the Turk for Dan Shula. His name was Carl Tassif.
If he shaves at 6 in the morning, by 8 it's back on.
By 8, he literally looks like, hey, so you're growing a beard,
Yeah.
So he has that look, and then the other guys on his staff were extremely young. I was really surprised by that because, you see the picture in the guide, and you're thinking, okay, this guy's been around for a while, see the resume, but very young emphasis on the defensive coaching staff, and they were torched a little bit last year, so they would have reason to be sensitive, and they love that we refer to Captain Charisma there, the head coach of the team, as Smoking Joe.
Smoking Joe Philbin.
It's just funny to see the whole staff breaking up and going, yeah, Smoking Joe this. Meanwhile, that's their boss, right? I mean, if he gets a hair up his ass,
you're gonna turn me into a Dolphin fan. I mean, if the guys
Good
are that
guys,
great,
man. I tell you what, it actually
you got to root for guys like that.
They remembered my campaign where I was trying to date the very wealthy socialite Adrian Arsht, who's a South Florida figure. You might know of Adrian Arsht in New York. I think she donated all the money for the New York Metropolitan Opera or something, and she's big with the arts down here. Filthy rich, super wealthy older woman of about 80-something years old. Doesn't look half bad for an old bag, but I was trying to get her to date me. Facetiously, I was making this campaign on the air, and
didn't go well.
No, we never got any response from anybody in the Adrian Arsht camp on this whole thing. But that was great, and they got a big kick out of that we were trying to make it with some lady that was about to kick the bucket at about 87 years old. All right, so this I have to verify for the people, and I don't know if Jory would believe me or Rick or any of the people, Todd, connected with the show. Certainly you wouldn't have believed it because it came from a source, our good friend, the great Barzini, Victor Bauza, who grew up in Hialeah, Florida, and he's telling me for years, hey, you got to go to this place by Hialeah Park. Had we known about this back then when we used to leave there, relatively intoxicated, this would have been the greatest find ever. But he tells me that for $5,
go to Chung Fao's.
You can go to the Canton Village.
Oh, Canton Village.
Canton Village in Hialeah on East 4th Street.
Yes.
It's East 4th Avenue, right?
4th Ave, okay.
4th Avenue, because you make that turn there.
Right behind the home of the thoroughbreds
Home of the thoroughbreds.
Yes.
Hialeah High School.
Hialeah High, yeah, that's it.
Particularly, strong when it comes to handicapping turf races on the inner turf course at
English
Saratoga.
1, Spanish 1, handicapping 1.
101,
these are the courses that are offered to incoming freshmen at Hialeah High.
I'm thinking, I don't know that I even want to stop there, but sure enough, we go in and we see on the shelf there, it's no longer $5, it's now $16.95.
For the bucket?
A bucket of fried rice. And,
$16.95. And
it's interesting, too, when you had a few drinks, and, it's not an easy thing to eat in a car, right? So we started
the bucket would make it a little easier due to the wideness.
Well, if you were driving yourself.
Yes, and driving with the elbow and
But a girl is not going to accept you just reaching your hand in there and grabbing a fistful of fried rice.
Don't you keep utensils in your little side thing there? I mean, a couple plastic forks or spoons.
What is the most difficult thing to eat in a car? Would it be barbecue? I don't know. What would it while driving?
I mean, I've got the
Mexican food?
I got the Jersey sub sandwich down. Our friends over at Las Spadas, I mean, they might want to use that.
Yeah, and they hold
I
together pretty
can
well.
balance that thing and get the wheel, and at one time. I
You
got
always
that.
get that one, like the vegetable that actually is going to stain your white shorts.
Yeah.
That one's the first one to fall
Well, the
out of
old
the sandwich.
racing forms that I keep in the back seat, I tuck those in and kind of drape them out so that
Yeah.
everything just falls. I mean, I got a lot of uses for things after I'm done with them.
I'm glad you mentioned that old racing farm thing, 'cause I'll never forget. You remember? Well, they still have them on occasion. They have these DUI stops.
Yes.
They probably have them all over the country, DWI and other areas, right? Where the cops are stopping, virtually every car. You have to slow down. They look
Oh,
in the
yeah,
window.
a bunch of cones and they flag
Bunch
you
of
in.
cones, gets down to
Yeah,
one
yeah.
lane. Some people they wave through, then they arbitrarily pull somebody over. So I had a couple of drinks after a radio show at this bar that was near the station on 79th Street in Miami.
Okay.
We're driving towards 95. Not the greatest, it's some treacherous turf there.
A little stretch there that could
right.
get a little dicey, yeah.
So, and I would have to say that if I was having to go ahead and use any kind of breathalyzer test, although I was very adept at driving after consuming alcohol, I wasn't deluding myself. I'd be the first guy to take a cab if I thought I couldn't handle it. But this was back in the day in your youth, and you do some really stupid things. So anyway, I'm driving. I'm not, overly intoxicated, but I'm fringe. And I blow right through the DUI stop that was on 79th Street on the way. They waved to me. Hey, how you doing? Who did they stop? Who hasn't had a drink in 12 years? The Pauly man.
Right.
A good friend of ours who was doing a show with me, and he's in the car behind me. They pull him over. And they start harassing him, and they're saying, I know you got guns in the trunk. Do you have any guns in the trunk? The Pauly man. You know the guy. A little sort of nebbish-looking guy.
Carry guns.
There's a members-only jacket on still, zipped up to the top. It's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, they finally forced him to open the trunk, and the only thing he had in there was old racing forms. And they were so old that even though this was only about 15 years ago, a headline on the racing form was, Kelso wins Wood Memorial. And this is what they're searching his car for.
Oh, my
They
God.
realized he was just, an old codger and had nothing to do with alcohol. But it's always amazing, right? The guy that, they really need to stop blows right through there. And, a guy that has nothing, to hide whatsoever. And they're accusing him of being like a Russian spy.
The poor Pauly man, right?
Yeah.
He's always getting.
He was a little flustered by that.
Get another deal that just went backwards.
No question about it. Now, what did you think of the Brady sketch? We didn't get a chance to talk about
I
that. Did you see it?
didn't see it, but I heard he looked kind of like
Artist rendering, yeah.
a bad rendering of the guy, right?
Not good, yeah. I mean, he looked like Ted Turner on acid or something. I don't know. And the artist was a fairly accomplished courtroom artist. They'd done these sketches many times. Had a dead-on Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, I think I heard the woman apologize.
Woody Allen, had
Right.
Woody Allen down, to a T. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden doing Brady, she said she was rushed, which, was one of those things. Never rushed the talent.
Right.
But it was ugly. I mean, you would have thought he was one of the Madoff, people that got sentenced, one of his clan there that got sentenced to like 9 and a hook.
Yeah, no, it did.
in
I heard it
federal
did look
prison.
good. She did apologize, so obviously she must have even felt it was a pretty lousy job.
Well, it was. I mean, a guy
Yeah.
came in there looking like $1 million, and she draws this picture of him, and you would have thought, what was that art school? Were you ever tempted to? Because you do have a little bit of
The one
doodling.
on TV that
Yeah,
they used
what
to
was that art
advertise.
school? I can't remember the name of it. But
You had to draw something and send it in. They'd let you know
Yes,
if you
and-
qualified. They gave you like a deer, a little
Right,
picture
yeah,
of Bambi
you would
or
fill in
something.
the dots on something,
Yeah.
or a stick figure, and the guy would go, well, you know what, for 10 dimes, we could turn you into Rembrandt.
Yeah.
I think it was the same guys who were selling those DeCarlo lots in New Jersey many years ago were behind this school. They somehow had gotten an accreditation and were turning out artists right and left.
I sent him the picture. I just wrote "bite me" on it. and
Yeah,
sent it
yeah,
in.
and they were
Guy
like,
goes, "You're in."
10,000. I see a lot of talent here. You know what? And obviously you're
Yeah,
an
yeah.
angry young man who needs to get his emotions out. And this will not only help you in terms of having a career, but it'll be
I'm
therapeutic
sure that
for
guy
you.
couldn't even draw that guy. You know,
I mean, you could have sent them anything,
it was
right?
the greatest scam ever. I mean,
You could have broken a pen on a piece of paper, and they would have said, "Yeah, you got some ability
It's
there."
like the hair club for men. I mean, if any of you guys are members, I mean, I am sorry, but
Yeah.
you see some of these
Maybe we can
guys.
get them on. I don't know.
Well, some of these guys walk up and they, I just went to the hair club. How do I look? And you look like that.
shit.
You
Yeah,
look
exactly.
like crap. Where'd you go? To Earl Scheib for that thing? I mean, it looks like something they got to, I mean, it's not good. And then if you don't have it tightened up and weaved, it starts to pull away,
Yeah.
and
You
it's
wonder
like,
too how a guy with a bad piece, because it's one of our favorite topics, like has it on tilted, like
I
it's
hate
Ruth
when it's
Buzzy
on
or something.
tilt, yeah. I mean,
and it looks in the mirror in the morning and goes, "Yeah, that looks good."
I mean, come on, at least straighten the thing out. A little Elmer's or something, like glue it to the side so it's not like half cocked. You can't go out looking like an idiot.
No, amazing, yeah. But and then there's always a 4-letter word, wind. That guy Kenny down by the beach there that you're always.
Well, he double whips it with a cap and everything. He puts a cap on top of it.
It's a dangerous place to have.
And I think he's got a bandana tied under
when
his
you're running
chin.
the water sports concession at the beach, at a windy beach. Who knows?
Oh,
you may have to have somebody just go. I mean, imagine this guy's maniacally chasing this hairpiece out there. Some pelican picks it up, thinking it's lunch.
Looks like some kind of
There's
dead,
a bald Kenny
like some
around.
kind of seaweed fish
It's bad,
that came up.
So
on
how are the waves up there in
the
New
waves
Jersey?
in New Jersey
you
are
look great. I mean,
They
you
were
look fit, like you've been riding waves.
6 to.
Did you still have the old ability?
I could. I bought this
Body
brand
surf or
new
the-
boogie board,
Okay.
which is a little thicker and a little longer for the older, fatter guy, which
Right.
is what it is.
Yeah, you still have the instincts for it, though.
I'm
I've
out
seen you
there. Yeah, no, I ride
There's
'em.
no waves here in Florida.
No,
I mean, you can forget about it.
Unless there's a hurricane, there are no waves
Even
in
then,
South
it's
Florida.
a little rough out there, yeah.
But,
I like those idiots that jump off the pier with a surfboard right when the hurricane has got the eye of the storm hovering over the deck there. And you're thinking, that's smart.
I'm like the big kahuna of boogie boarding,
You're good at it,
I
yeah.
could take these younger kids and show them how to do it. I got my little nephew and out there
Paddle.
and get them right
and
into
you were
the
catching them right
into
crest?
the break of the wave and
Pipeline?
riding them all the way to the sand line, right
Nice.
up onto the beach. Yeah, no,
That's
nothing,
a great feeling, isn't
nothing
it?
better than that.
You come
but,
out of there like Diana Nyad, though, now. I mean, it looks like you got a jellyfish on your head and like you just went 12 with Chuck Wepner.
I got a little lucky in Atlantic City, which I hit a slot machine and.
Another 3 dimes?
No, it was only for about 900,
Oh,
but
nice.
it helped out. I mean, it picked up
a dime
half,
here and there, never
picked up
hurts
the tab,
cause. Yes, exactly.
some of the tab for the vacation. The boys at Steel Fudge, I did have a little conversation with them. They weren't pleased with some of the things you were saying, and
Oh, yeah?
yeah, and I wouldn't walk the boardwalk alone if I was you.
But they're not coming for me.
No, actually, I'm
I was
just
watching
kidding.
Ray Donovan last night. That's never good.
No, there was
the Crips or the Aryans or somebody's coming after Donovan's brother.
we got no problem with you, Kyle. Kyle, we got no problem with you. But
Is
that
that
guy,
how it came off? Yeah.
that friend of yours, DeForest.
What could I have possibly said that would have alienated the people?
We'd like him to come up and pay a visit.
Steel Sponge. Yeah, it'll be on
No,
the Jersey Shore soon.
that's not true. The guys were great. I
love us, huh?
spoke to them. They love the show. They love watching. They did send a gift basket down.
Oh, good. Am I getting
It's
a piece
coming.
of that?
You're
or
going to get
I
a
want
piece.
yeah.
I had it delivered up to my mom's place in Boca so that, instead of juries.
Yeah.
Because I know if we would have sent it to jury's house, we would have seen none of it.
Right.
I mean, the whole thing would have been
Oh, yeah,
confiscated.
no, Jory's a thief.
Yeah, so I mean, I got it sent to my mother's house
Yeah.
up in Boca, so it should arrive this week. The guy promised me a special delivery, and I'll be
They just messaged.
bringing
very
it
good.
to you.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't let it go through these guys.
No, if
They
it
want
goes
a cut
through,
of
that,
everything.
we get nothing. I mean, we'll get a couple
He's got
wrappers,
stock deals going on, and it's an
saltwater
average
taffy
there,
with the paper, the
you know,
wax paper that's wrapped
Yeah.
around. That's all we would end up getting if it ended up going to his. Yeah, here's your box.
Yeah.
With
They
the-
gave you the steel fudge box, though.
The
That's
logo,
a
yeah.
joke.
yeah, I'm going to
right.
stick that right here next to the trophy.
Come up with a winner.
the
We're going to
ring
run.
to
Saratoga.
this afternoon.
Should be good, yeah.
Good to be back. Thanks for
Nice to have you on. Yeah,
thanks
we're-
for not kicking
11
me
o'clock
off the
post time
show.
from now on. 11 o'clock. We're going to
He
do it.
was looking for another. You weren't out the door. He's already got
Another
an
host.
invitation
Yeah.
Up on Facebook.
Oddly, the
Co-host.
people were lined up.
They wanted the job.
We had 4 or 5 interviews.
Yeah.
While you were
And-
gone. Yeah.
It's my show, my show. I'm Mike Luby Lubitz, and it's my
It's one
show.
of the things I learned early on in this venture of show business. Is
Yeah.
Don't take too long of a vacation.
Don't leave your.
Yeah.
Don't take your seat. Don't
That's
get
why
out
they
of your
like to
seat.
fire you when you're on vacation. This way they don't ever have to confront you about it.
You guys could have put like a mannequin or something here. Dressed it up.
We had
Shaved
that-
its head.
We had the Tiger Woods blow up doll
You
that
coulda-
Kelly Tillman was making love to on the Saturday
Yeah,
Golf
you could have
Show.
put an American Seawall shirt on them. Just sat a guy here. You could have like punched me during the show or something. Put
All
a
right.
little recorder.
Congratulations to Jordan Spieth and Jason Day for
But
staging
bigger
a good
than
rally there.
the PGA,
Nothing bigger than that.
the ring toss tournament of Long Beach Island.
Spieth number 1 in the world now. Jason Day gets his first major victory, and it's
Yeah.
on there in a game of golf. It's going to be good. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to try and come up with some winners. I love Monday racing at Saratoga. For Jersey, Kyle, Jory, Rick, Todd, and all the people here at SportsStreamNetwork.com, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, our new post time here on SportsStreamNetwork.com.